I'm so excited. It's the VSL Bible. Guess what? If you've seen that video that said I was quitting VSLs, think again, because turns out it takes innovation plus advertising. And while I've been inventing SaaS products, lovely, been really fun, I got to get back to my core heart to promote these things back in the VSL. So I've been bringing myself back up to speed, and I thought I'd take the opportunity to give you my favorite document that's ever existed called the VSL Bible. This was created 7-8 years ago, and it has been it's a collection, and I broke this down to 3 of my favorite VSL formulas of ads that I've seen go nuclear on the internet in the past. And I'm going to show you 3 ways to tell a story that when you tell a story in these 3 ways, you can pick your favorite way, you can use AI to rewrite it for you, you can make a banger campaign. There are campaigns that have done over 200 grand in a day in sales inside of these things. I'm going to show you 3 of them. 3 winning scripts, 3 winning offers. I'm going to break down step-by-step flow and give you the important details to help you make banging campaigns. I love this document. I love VSLs. There's no problem in your life that a banging VSL that prints cash can't solve into your life. It can solve all your financial problems. And if it can't solve your financial problems, it can hire the experts that can solve all your other problems. So all your problems can be solved with a banging ass, beautiful VSL. So let me go through this document. You can find the link below. Let me start out by saying, if you need a badass team, I want to introduce you to Robbie. This is Robbie Rankin right here. That's his badass chandelier, and this is his sick Colombian mansion. I met up with him in Colombia. Robbie is one of my best friends in the media buying world, and if you need a badass team that can help you scale your VSLs, I want to let you know, go to Tried and True Media. This is Robbie's team over here. I was in a mastermind with me, him, and another friend of mine named Omar Goldstein, where we would get on a call every single week to talk about VSLs, and this is why I was doing the whole Mind Valley thing. So he's one of the best in the world. He owns this badass agency. Basically, if you want to scale to 8 to 9 figures, hit him up. Tell them I sent you. They got 100 plus people on their team, dozens of clients, and I love them. Tried and True Media. You can DM, you can shoot this email, jarrett@triedandtruemedia.com. Killers. So I thought I'd send them a referral because these guys are gangsters. So let's talk about the principles, right? First off, let me just scroll to show you what's in this document. I'm going to go over a handful of banging scripts. One, I'm going to show you this one, the greatest pillow ad of all time. And I'm going to show you one of my favorite ones, which is the toxic protein version, right? Killer VSL formulas. I'm going to run through it. Before I do, I got to talk about some principles really quick inside this document so you can learn this, because there's some key, extremely important principles that go to making killer VSLs that I have to teach you right now. First off, let's go through this in the document. Step 1, don't persist, dominate. Whatever situation you're in right now, don't push through it, okay? Don't drag your ass through the mud. That's bad energy. We are here to dominate your campaign, create the biggest opportunities of your life, and dominate everything. So step 1 is you always must set your intentions. So my intentions for this video is to help introduce you to some life-changing epic shit, which is going to change your life. So before you do anything, you got to set your intentions. In a VSL case, your intentions is always to double the most amount of money you've ever made in a single day, so you can double the most amount of money you've ever created in a single month, in a year, and then create the dopest life you could ever live and move into the next most amazing, abundant, prosperous, beautiful chapter in your life. That's what we're here for. Next principle, you must have clarity on the exact CPA that would double your high score. If you're selling a product where the AOV is $200, then you got to know your mission is to get a $120 cost per customer acquisition. That's what's going to blow you up. So you got to be clear on what's going to change your life in the biggest level. The next one, you must complete your research process, okay? I can't tell you how many times I have messed up the mechanism because I didn't research it correctly. Whatever you're selling, there will always be one primary keyword that is touching the market the most in their own language. You got to look for the one thing, the 80-20 rule. You solve a lot of problems, but there's one problem that the vast majority of the people are buying your product for. It's the 80-20 rule. You got to figure out exactly what that is and get it approved by someone who knows what they're talking about. If you don't know much about the niche, don't assume you're qualified to know about this. You must research the top videos on the planet to get this dialed in. Another principle, this is one of my favorite quotes of John Benson, who is my VSL mentor. What I notice about your writing is it's laser focused on one idea. If you want to sell to the mass America, let me tell you what, there's not mass brain power going on mass America, okay? So we need kindergarten simple mechanisms, secrets, speech inside of here so we can explain it very simply. Very simple, laser focused, one idea. We're going one thing, that's what works the best on the ads. Second thing, another principle, right? They're all labeled one because they're all critically important. A super simple mechanism. Listen, every sale is about taking somebody from a problem, introducing them to the root cause of the reason why they have it, showing them the solution to the root cause, and then showing them the amazing benefits. And if you can explain that in a very simple, kindergarten-friendly way, then people will get it and they will purchase. That's what makes people want to purchase. When they see the light in the tunnel and it makes sense to them, they will go ahead and purchase. So I have a few examples here of, listen, is your skin aging fast? Well, the reason is there's a toxic protein that's breaking down your skin. And there's some science that says if you put this shit on it, it'll reduce the protein, which means your wrinkles will go away and you'll look amazing. You see how that one sentence makes a lot of sense? Like if you told that to a child, the child would be like, yeah, I get that, right? But most of you guys aren't simplifying the mechanisms in starting beforehand so that you have a really crystal clear idea on how what's the core problem, right? Aging fast, mechanism, this, super simple. You got to make sure everything goes super simply in that. Just imagine explaining this to a kindergartner. If a kindergartner can look back at you in your imagination and say, I get it, that's how you know you're doing a good job. Okay, again, don't assume you know what the mechanism is. I can't tell you how many times I've been wrong about this. This is one of my biggest VSL mistakes, is I'm like, oh, this is the root cause of the problem. No, I literally just messed this up this week. I just wrote a VSL, thought I knew, I just invented a mechanism of how I thought it worked. The market didn't like it, and it wasn't the way that I wanted to work. So you got to interview whoever is the authority figure behind this so that you really understand how do you explain the root cause of the problem. Don't assume you know what it is. Next one, you have to know exactly who you're talking to. That's a core piece, right? This is an important one. I like to start out by writing each VSL in 7 sentences, right? Which makes it really retard, like really simple version. So it looks like I have this storyline kind of making sense. That's an important one. And then reverse engineer winning campaigns. This is important. Always reverse engineer campaigns. That's what we're going to do in this document. I got 3 campaigns I'm going to show you that you can reverse engineer. And we got to keep the language dumbing down. We got to keep it to Joe, the 51-year-old plumber who needs a 5 Flesch-Killian score, whatever it's called, FK score. An FK score is your reading level. It must be 5th grade or below. 6.5 or below. I learned this from Micro Masterson, the head guy behind Agora. This is a really important one. It's got to be kindergarten simple the way you're presenting this. So this is a really cool little form that you can just fill out if you want to be able to find people with amazing stories. And by the way, all of your stories must be true, world-class, and amazing. You must be focused on building epic, beautiful brands and selling world-class products because that's what's going to bring you the prosperity that doesn't have bad karma attached to it, which is going to enable you to be successful for a long period of time, forever. As long as you're wise and a good steward with your money, you can be successful forever when you do white hat, beautiful, good things. If you do some bullshit and you tell some lies, karma's going to come back at you and you're going to have to start off, in the best case scenario, you're going to start all over from the bottom. Okay, in the worst case scenario, you go to prison. So it's very easy. Make sure you're doing the right things and doing high karma stuff. We're trying to live the best life here, so do it right. First question, what's the core main problem the product ends in 1 to 2 words? Whatever you have. I like to go on YouTube. I like to search the most viewed videos, and I like to figure out exactly what that is. I'll give you a quick little example for a moment, right? Let me go on YouTube, right? There was one campaign I had called dark spots. I was selling a dark spot correcting cream. And if I would type in like remove dark spot, I would get a bunch of videos here. And then I like to filter right here by most viewed video on earth of all time. And see what's going on here and seeing what exactly keywords they're moving here, right? Removal, blackhead removal. Let's see what else we got. Fade, acne marks. That is the best core keyword ever. These are all super proven keywords ever, right? The thumbnails are very proven. Look at this. They're doing this, that, and the other thing. Removal. So really important way. You got to make sure you get this stuff really dial in from the get-go and make sure you filter by most viewed videos ever because that's it. fix your dark spots. That's the perfect core keyword. It's the most viewed video. So we're going to that one specifically. What's the core outcome you want? You want to dial it in very specifically. What kind of people are deeply affected by this problem? It's so much that it's ruining their life. We got to dive in to see who is deeply affected by it, right? This is your audience, and this is also going to supply with potential people you could work with to help capture amazing stories. The authority figure. When you're looking for an authority figure, you got to find someone. Is there a unique person that would deal with these problems on a regular basis and be an expert at solving with them? There's a few types of authority figures. Remember, some of the biggest VSLs in the world, they all start with having a badass authority figure in them. Actually, all the biggest ones have an authority figure in them. But an authority figure could be an expert. They could be somebody that they were basically, they went to college and have a degree and stuff like that. Or they could be the accidental expert, right? Somebody who didn't want to be a pilot, but his son was falling from the sky and he needed to build a plane and save him, and he was a regular guy, but he had to do it to save his son's life. So now he knows how to fly planes, and he made a breakthrough for some reason. Random example, but America loves those stories. So keep an eye out on those big stories. What's the big idea that allows this product to be solved unlike anything else on the market? Root cause of the problem. Very important that you have that piece dialed in. So I have a step-by-step process to making banging ads, right? Set your intentions. Write the big idea, simplify that stuff. Copywriter creates a rough draft. If you're using AI, the AI is the new copywriter that can help you do this stuff. Run it through Hemingway, which is a cool app to get a 4.5 score, but I actually think like a 5 score is fine if you do that, right? Organize it in your Trello, whatever you're using to organize copy, in VSL scripts. You turn it into a rough draft, you shoot it, blah, 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 blah. It's done. Some rules in copywriting. The first one is, this was an old Facebook rule. Don't use the word you. They used to not allow that. I think they're okay with that. Don't be a douchebag. Don't say douchey things that pull on people's insecurity. You don't want to actually stab someone with a knife and twist it. You think you're going to make friends out there when you're stabbing people with a knife and twisting it? You think people want to come back to you and buy from you again if you're doing that? You got to lead with positivity. You got to talk about the pain, but you're not trying to be like, listen, your girlfriend's going to leave you if you don't dial this in, because after they're done with the video, they're terrified that the girlfriend's going to leave you and you just left them in a really crappy state of mind. Don't be like that. Positive stuff only. Another really good question, right? How would a dumb person say this sentence? This is a really good way to simplify sentences and make it more kindergarten simple. You just kind of ask that, like, how would a dumb person say this? Like, how would they say it very simply? And then, of course, I don't have this in here, but one of the important rules is that whenever you make a script, print it out on paper with a printer, get a pen, read it and underline it and cross things out by hand, and do that over and over again. You write on the computer, but I can't tell you how many times I've written a script with Claude. By the way, Claude's the best AI copywriter right now. It's better than O1. It's better than O3 Mini. It's Claude. I wish Claude would update itself so I could use it more often, because I run out of limits all the time. But right now it's Claude. It's still Claude. I'll let you know if it's not Claude. O3 might have a chance to beat it. I haven't tried DeepSeek yet. That's my update on that. Video process, blah, 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 making videos. All right, so here's a cool wheel of emotions. If you want to see specific emotions, because people buy with emotions, you could look at this and kind of understand it. Here's some universal objections. Honestly, I never really used this, even though I thought it was cool, right? It just showed me some cool objections. Metaphors sink deeply into the subconscious mind and help people like understand stuff better. Angles blueprint. This was kind of cool. This is from like that book, Caspertising, and you could see like some of the sins and things like that, which is cool. Here's some story examples. So what's worked for me my whole career are stories. I love stories, because if you're not telling a story, you're giving a lecture. And if you're giving a lecture, it feels like I'm in college again, and I don't like it, right? And I feel like that's how most America is. They don't want a lecture. They want to be sold via a story. And a story is super sick because you can't tuck somebody into bed at night and program them while they're in the story because I'm talking about somebody else, right? Because if I say something like this, you can make a ton of money on the internet just buying my stuff. That's coming at you. You're going to have walls up. But if I say there was this girl that started making tons of money on the internet and she bought my stuff and now she's crushing it, like that's going through the wall. So just by saying there was a girl, right? Now I'm behind your subconscious mind and I can plant things. She thought it wasn't important. She thought I didn't need to listen to her, but she realized in her mind, it's fine. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to sign up right now and I'm really excited. I'm jumping out of my seat just to do this. So you see how I'm like under your mind by doing that versus I'm going to say you're really excited versus coming at you. So that's why stories are so sick, and stories would have worked best for me. Here's a handful of story blueprints, but I never really used it too much. I think this is from the book Copywriting by one of the copywriting books. Anyway, classic underdog story. So whenever you see a story like this, part of your job as a badass VSL artist, media buying savage, is your job is to find epic stories and tell them in beautiful ways that inspire people to take action and solve their problems today by purchasing your product. That's the core idea here. So by understanding story frameworks, you can do that, but I actually don't really like these very much. I like the ones that I'm going to show you in a second. So I'm going to go straight into it. First story, the mind and soul story. This is a conspiracy story. So if you ever find a conspiracy, you have an opportunity to rattle the market, get people really interested. And I'm going to show you the flow on this whole one specifically. This is a VSL that absolutely blew up in the past. I think I had a 200 grand day, which is absolutely insane. So pay attention. This is an amazing way to tell a story, right? Authority plus big intro. Today, this authority figure is going to show you how to solve your problems today. That's one of the best headline formulas. You can see it right here. This, that, solves, relieves your back pain, right? That kind of thing. Really solid way to write a headline. It's actually my favorite way to write headlines. It's just authority figure reveals how to fix problem. Super easy, right? Starts out with 3 testimonials in a row to prove that kind of sentence, and then it goes straight into the story. Huge tear-jerking disaster that's fucked up conspiracy in 3 to 5 sentences. So it starts out with there was a conspiracy, and then there was this expert, and he was pissed off. He was like, this sucks. I don't like it, right? And if you have any of these points, you got to pay attention because it's not your fault. They're trying to hurt you and all this stuff. Well, this guy who didn't like it, he didn't like all these pain that people were in, so he tried to fix it, but he tried a bunch of stuff and it didn't work. Then he made a discovery. He figured out that if he did this certain thing, it would fix the problem. It was crazy. He tested it on this guy and it worked. He tested it on that guy and it worked. But the only problem is he couldn't do it all day, so he made a product that would do it for him. He tested it out and it worked like crazy. People were having their lives changed left and right. It was incredible. He put some new technology in to overcome all the objections that you have that make you feel like it's not going to work. The technology overcomes every objection right here. Epic. Here's a story of a guy who transformed doing it. Here's another story. But we really wanted to know, could it really help solve the problem? I don't know. The only way to find out is to try it. So we put it to the test. We tried it on day 1. It was great. On day 3, it was fantastic. And on day 7, it was the best day of my life. So if you want to buy this stuff, you got to buy it today before it sells out because they're running out of stock. So go here, click the button, and sign up today. Now's your time. So that is the conspiracy story. And if you want to rewrite something like this, right? This story, by the way, is an untrue story, which you got to make sure you don't follow. You're just modeling proven stories, kind of like how Harry Potter is an untrue story, but this is a really solid way to structure a sales pitch. But it's your job to find winning stories and connect them in a very beautiful way. That way you build epic stuff. So this is the conspiracy story. Anytime you find a story like this, you can go to this VSL framework and you can rewrite this formula. The trick on how to do this is you go to Claude, right? You go to Claude, you copy all this stuff, and you write a prompt that says like, hey Claude, I have this conspiracy story, blah, 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 blah. You just talk to it. You get one of those voice things where you talk to it. I have this conspiracy theory. It's doing this. This is my product. It sells this. I'm trying to find a way to tell my story in a similar way as this proven VSL. I have a proven VSL right here that made a ton of money, and I want to model it and follow it to the T. Important things to add. Don't add a bunch of crazy stuff. Follow the formula. Follow the length. Follow the length of each sentence. Keep it tight because when it's tight, that'll work very well. So just do a prompt like that, paste in the script, paste in some information about your product, and it'll rewrite each sentence one by one. I like to chunk things down, so I like to start with this and then have it do this one and then have it do this one to make sure it's all dialed in. Remember, you have to have your problems fixed. You have to have the root cause of the problem dialed in. You have to have the authority figure. You have to have the story dialed in. You got to have all these important details dialed in. And if you want to interview somebody to help get the story out of them, all you have to do is go to ChatGPT, paste this VSL in, or Claude, and be like, if I had to interview somebody to get him to tell a story in this format, what questions would I have to ask him in this specific format? And then it'll give you interview questions. You can just tell your guy the interview questions. You can interview him. He'll get the story. And then with all that, you can use that to create a banging ass ad campaign. I'm going to keep going to keep this whole thing short. The second story that we have is a tear-jerking disaster nightmare story, right? This was another monster campaign. Authority figure reveals how to fix problem. Awesome. So there was a huge, crazy disaster that happened. Then a miracle happened. So this is a lesson in inception. This is a lesson in inception where a lot of people come at him and like, oh, this guy had back pain right out of the gate. This guy couldn't sleep right out of the gate. Well, in most stories, or in the best stories, you don't want to lead with that. The person who can't sleep, that problem needs to come in later down the line. If you come at someone like, my name's John, and I couldn't sleep very well, so then I got this product, and now I can sleep amazing, right? It's kind of a shitty story. The best stories got to be like, John got hit by a tornado, and now he's terrified of sleeping, right? Boom. So a problem. So in this case, there's always a nightmare disaster that happens. Whenever you see something of a nightmare story that happens, but the day was saved, but the problem is that there is a new problem that emits where this is the problem that your product solves. So if you have a product or you find a story on the internet, I did this with dark spots. We were looking for someone with a true story that was struggling. So we found somebody on backstage.com. We said, hey, does anyone have a rock bottom, tear-jerking nightmare disaster of your experience with dark spots? And some lady was like, yeah, I was on a date and some guy tried to wipe my dark spots away like it was teriyaki sauce, but it was dark spots. So she lost her husband, a bunch of drama. So it was a really good story of nightmare disasters that made the problem appear, right? So that's much more emotionally triggering. And when you get their emotions, you can get them to buy, which is important. People buy with emotions. They have to be emotionally going off over the problems that they have in order to solve that. So let me high level run through this formula really quick. Authority figure promises to reveal and fix the problem. A tear-jerking disaster happened. Then a miracle happened that saved the day. Then a new problem appears, which is the problem the product solves. So let me go through this again, actually. This crazy shit is this guy's going to reveal how to fix a problem. A while ago, some crazy shit happened that was terrible. But a miracle happened. Everybody was okay, except there was one problem. There was a new problem, which my product had to solve. A new problem appears, and nobody likes this problem. It was making them very sad. But this authority figure, who happens to be an expert on solving the problem, realized that she wanted to fix the problem. So she had this dream of a higher calling. She's like, I want to save the day here. She makes a discovery. She's like, I've been working on the solution here, and we're going to fix it all. And she went out and fixed it all, and then she put it into a product, and it's amazing. Here's how it works. It goes like this. It goes like that. Bing, bada, boom. And it starts to work really well. She's like, oh, I really want to help everyone across the world. So she puts it into a product and she puts it to the test. This guy transforms day 1, day 3, day 7. Everybody's loving the product and you can buy that shit today. Buy it right now. That's the core idea on this VSL in general. So that's a great VSL. This is a tear-jerking disaster VSL, which starts out with a rock bottom moment. So if you see any crazy nightmare stories, this is a great formula to follow. Just throw it in Claude and have it rewrite and follow the main formula. Remember, keep it white hat, keep it compliant, keep it legit. The last formula I want to send to you right now is the toxic protein formula. This is one of my favorite formulas these days because most market sophistication levels, they've been around. So many people have sold so many stuff. If you're in a niche where there's a bazillion competitors, you probably want to go to this formula because this is a new root cause of the problem thing, right? So whenever big breakthroughs happen, it's typically because a breakthrough in the root cause of the problems appear, which reveals the next solution to that. So this is a good story about, authority figures discovering a new mechanism that's causing aging. So it's a nightmare story, but it's really a nightmare story around the new root cause of the problem, right? That's basically it. So in this story, it's like, hey, people just figured out there's some new shit that's causing the problems that are happening. It's the reason why you got all these problems, so pay attention, right? This expert made a discovery that people like you have lots of symptoms of this root cause of the problem. It's this thing inside of you, and it's causing all sorts of issues. Here's what happens. Here's why it causes all sorts of issues. And it's a problem because it's causing all these other problems that you hate in your life that's making you sad. So if you ever have any of these symptoms, this one or that one or this one or this one or that one, pay attention. Do not ignore them. You're at high risk because you are suffering from this stuff. The authority figure went on a journey and she stumbled upon a solution. And it looked like it was going to fix the problem and cause all these amazing benefits because it does this specific thing. Here's how it works. It does this, it does that. She decided it was amazing and she put it into a product that you can buy today. Here's the story behind it. Initially, she just wanted to do this. Then she realized she was onto something cooler. And then she realized this is actually really sick. She tried it on this person. It was amazing. She tried it on that person. It was amazing. And to put it to the test, she tried it on this person really in depth and really in detail over the course of 30 days. And it worked like crazy. So if you want to buy that, buy it right now because things are absolutely exploding. So this is the third formula. Thanks so much for sticking around. This is one of my favorite ones. The only thing that these are missing are epic average order value bumps. That was one of the big lessons, I guess, later on. That's the only thing that's missing on all of these. But besides for that, these are some really badass VSLs, which are very non-compliant, but are still very cool in terms of the story formula. So if you take the formula, take your own story, find winning stories from customers, you can make banger ads following similar frameworks to this and have a lot of success online. Peter Kell here, back in action. Listen, I'm stoked on VSLs again because they've created my dream life. I love VSLs. I love this stuff. It's super awesome. So hope you have a blast with this one. Love you guys. Peace.